Every year, we tell ourselves that this is the year everything changes. We make resolutions, we set targets. But a few months later, life gets in the way and those promises fade into the background. Why? Because most of us don't set goals that truly inspire us. We set goals that sound nice, but not goals that change the way we live, think, and grow. So this year, I want you to think differently. I want you to focus on 8 goals that can completely transform your life. These aren't random checklists. They're intentional steps toward becoming the person you've always wanted to be. First, set a goal to master your mornings. The way you start your day determines the quality of it. A calm, purposeful morning gives you clarity. Wake up with a plan, not just an alarm. Replace the rush with a routine that energizes you. Second, make learning a non-negotiable. Most people stop learning after school, but growth dies when learning stops. Read, take courses, explore new skills. Even 20 minutes a day compounds in expertise over time. Knowledge is the seed of opportunity. Third, prioritize your health like it's your most valuable investment, because it is. Energy is your currency for everything else in life. Exercise, eat real food, sleep deeply. You can't lead, create, or serve at your best if you're constantly running on empty. Fourth, strengthen your relationships. People often chase success only to realize they have no one to share it with. Make time for the people who matter. Listen more. Appreciate openly. The strength of your connections is the strength of your life. Fifth, develop emotional discipline. It's not about avoiding challenges. It's about mastering your response to them. Learn to pause before reacting. Control your emotions instead of letting them control you. This skill will keep you steady when life tries to shake you. Sixth, create financial stability. Freedom is impossible without it. Spend less than you earn. Save before you spend. Invest in assets, not distractions. When your finances are under control, your mind is free to focus on what truly matters. Seventh, dedicate time to service. Give without expecting. Help others grow. Volunteer, mentor, support a cause. The more you contribute, the more purpose you'll find in your own life. Eighth, live with intention. Stop letting life happen to you. Ask yourself every day, is what I'm doing today leading me toward the life I want tomorrow? If the answer is no, it's time to change direction. These goals aren't just ideas. They are commitments to a better version of yourself. If you give them your full attention, you won't just have a good year, you'll create a life you're proud to live. Fifth keynotes of the speech, the quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your daily habits and goals. Learning and self-growth must be a lifelong commitment, not a temporary project. Health and energy are the foundation of all other successes. Strong relationships and emotional discipline are the core of a stable, fulfilling life. Financial stability, service to others, and intentional living lead to lasting purpose and freedom. The quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your daily habits and goals, because life is not transformed by one big decision, but by the thousands of small choices we make every single day. Every action, no matter how minor it seems in the moment, either moves us closer to the life we want or pulls us further away from it. Goals give us a direction, but habits create the path we walk on. You can set the most ambitious goals in the world, but if your habits don't align with them, those goals will remain distant dreams. This is why so many people start the year with high hopes, only to lose momentum. They aim for big results without changing the small, repetitive actions that actually produce those results. When you think about the life you want to live, it's important to break that vision down into the smallest possible daily actions. If your goal is to be healthy, the habit might be preparing nutritious meals at home instead of relying on fast food. If your goal is to be financially secure, the habit might be tracking your expenses and saving a fixed percentage of your income before you spend on anything else. These small habits may feel almost insignificant at first, but over time they build the identity and results you're looking for. The truth is, success is rarely a sudden event. It's the accumulation of consistent effort applied over long periods. Our goals should not only be big enough to inspire us, but also clear enough to guide our daily choices. Without clarity, it's easy to drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of proactively shaping them. Imagine a ship with no set course. It will move with the wind, sometimes in the right direction, often in the wrong one. That's how life feels without meaningful goals. But when you set a clear, motivating goal and pair it with strong habits, you start steering your life deliberately, regardless of what challenges come your way. Habits are powerful because they remove the need for constant willpower. Willpower is like a battery. It runs out quickly when we rely on it too much. But habits are like autopilot. Once established, they require far less effort to maintain. This is why someone who has built the habit of exercising daily no longer debates with themselves about whether they should work out. It becomes as natural as brushing their teeth. By focusing on creating habits that directly serve your goals, you make progress inevitable. You no longer rely on short bursts of motivation, which are unreliable and inconsistent. You rely on systems that make success the default outcome. Another crucial point to understand is that bad habits are just as powerful as good ones. They operate silently, shaping your life whether you're aware of them or not. Skipping your morning routine might seem harmless once or twice, but repeated often enough, it erodes your sense of discipline. Mindlessly scrolling on your phone for hours each night may feel like relaxation, but it slowly steals time you could be using to improve your skills or build your future. Recognizing and replacing these unhelpful habits with constructive ones is one of the fastest ways to change the trajectory of your life. Goals give you a reason to wake up with purpose. They remind you of why you are making the effort, why you are saying no to certain distractions, and why you are choosing discipline over comfort. But without the structure of daily habits, even the most compelling goals will struggle to survive the pressures of everyday life. Life will always throw challenges at you. Unexpected events, emotional setbacks, moments of doubt. Strong habits act like anchors in those storms, keeping you steady and helping you return to the path when you drift. The people who create extraordinary lives are not necessarily more talented or luckier than others. They simply commit to doing the small things that matter every single day without fail. They understand that every choice is a vote for the person they want to become. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight to see change. You just need to start making consistent, intentional choices that align with your long-term vision. Over weeks and months, those choices compound into results that once seemed impossible. In the end, your life will reflect your habits and your goals, not your wishes. Wishing for a better life without changing your daily actions is like expecting a plant to grow without watering it. If you want to change your future, start with the smallest habits that serve your biggest goals and commit to them relentlessly. When your goals are clear and your habits are strong, you're no longer waiting for life to change. You're actively building it one deliberate choice at a time. Learning and self-growth must be a lifelong commitment, not a temporary project, because the world is constantly changing, and the moment you stop learning, you start falling behind. Knowledge is not something you collect once and keep forever. It's something you must continually refresh, expand, and refine. What you knew 5 years ago may already be outdated today. Skills that were valuable yesterday may not be enough for tomorrow. The people who thrive in life are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who are always curious, always asking questions, and always seeking to improve themselves. When you make learning a permanent part of your life, you stop seeing it as an obligation and start seeing it as an opportunity. This mindset changes everything. Instead of thinking, I have to learn this, you start thinking, I get to learn this. You become excited about discovering new ideas, understanding how things work, and expanding your view of the world. It's no longer about passing exams or impressing others. It's about feeding your mind and sharpening your ability to think, adapt, and create. This kind of learning doesn't just happen in classrooms. It happens everywhere, all the time, if you're willing to see it. Self-growth is equally important because learning without application is incomplete. You can read 100 books, watch endless lectures, and take countless notes, but if you never apply what you've learned, it stays as unused potential. Growth happens when you take what you've learned and put it into action, when you practice it, test it, fail at it, and try again. Every time you do this, you're not just building knowledge, you're building experience. And experience is what transforms information into wisdom. This process requires humility. Lifelong learners understand that no matter how much they know, there is always more to discover. They don't pretend to have all the answers. Instead, they ask better questions. They surround themselves with people who challenge their thinking instead of just agreeing with them. They are open to feedback, even when it's uncomfortable, because they know that discomfort often means growth. Too many people avoid situations that expose their weaknesses, but those situations are where the biggest breakthroughs happen. The pace of change in our world makes this commitment to learning even more urgent. Technology, industries, and social systems are evolving faster than ever before. What worked in your career a decade ago may not work today. A skill you've relied on for years could become irrelevant overnight. If you want to stay relevant, you have to keep updating your skills, adapting to new realities, and being willing to start from scratch if necessary. This doesn't mean constantly chasing every new trend. It means staying aware, staying flexible, and being ready to learn whatever the situation demands. Self-growth also requires you to look inward, not just outward. It's about understanding yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your triggers, and your potential. The more you know about yourself, the better decisions you make. You start recognizing patterns in your behavior, spotting the beliefs that hold you back, and intentionally replacing them with beliefs that move you forward. This internal learning is just as important as external learning because it shapes how you respond to life's challenges and opportunities. Another key part of lifelong learning is diversity of perspective. If you only learn from people who think like you, you limit your understanding of the world. Seek out books, conversations, and experiences that challenge your worldview. Travel if you can. Listen to people from different backgrounds. Explore subjects that have nothing to do with your current career. The connections your mind makes between seemingly unrelated ideas can spark creativity and solutions you never would have found otherwise. The most successful people in any field are those who treat learning as a habit, not a phase. They read daily. They take notes, they reflect on what they've learned and look for ways to apply it. They don't stop learning just because they've reached a certain level of success. In fact, their continued success depends on their willingness to keep growing. This is true for athletes, business leaders, artists, and anyone striving for excellence. When learning becomes a lifestyle, you develop an edge that most people will never have. You adapt faster, you solve problems more creatively, you spot opportunities before others do. Most importantly, You become more resilient because you know you can figure things out. Instead of fearing change, you embrace it, confident that you can learn whatever is necessary to move forward. This kind of confidence is not based on what you already know. It's based on your ability to keep learning no matter what happens. By making learning and self-growth a lifelong commitment, you build a life that never stagnates. You become a person who is always moving forward, always evolving, and always ready for whatever comes next. This commitment is not about speed, it's about consistency. It's not about knowing everything, it's about never stopping the pursuit of what you don't yet know. In a world that never stops changing, this is the only way to keep growing, not just for a year or a season, but for your entire life. Health and energy are the foundation of all other successes because no matter how ambitious your goals are or how determined your mindset is, you cannot fully show up for your life if your body is running on empty. Everything you want to achieve, whether it's building a career, nurturing relationships, or creating something meaningful, requires physical stamina, mental clarity, and emotional stability. These all depend on the state of your health. You can push through exhaustion for a while, but eventually your body and mind will demand payment for the neglect, and when that happens, no amount of motivation can make up for what you've lost. When you think about success, most people picture hard work, strategy, and persistence, but very few think about the energy that fuels all of it. Without energy, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Decision-making becomes harder, your creativity dries up, and your patience runs thin. This is why taking care of your health is not a luxury or an afterthought. It's the most important investment you can make in your future. The stronger and more energized you are, the more consistently you can perform at your best. Good health starts with the basics: movement, nutrition, and rest. Exercise is not just about looking fit. It's about keeping your body strong enough to carry you through the demands of life. A body that moves well supports a mind that thinks clearly. Regular movement improves blood flow, boosts mood, and strengthens resilience to stress. Even small, consistent activities like walking, stretching, or light strength training can dramatically improve your energy levels over time. The key is consistency because sporadic effort cannot replace steady commitment. Nutrition is another non-negotiable. Food is not just fuel, it's the building material for every cell in your body. What you eat directly affects your mood, focus, and overall vitality. When you fill your diet with nutrient-rich foods, your body has what it needs to repair, grow, and perform. On the other hand, a diet heavy in processed, sugary, and low-quality foods drains energy, disrupts focus, and increases the risk of long-term illness. The choices you make at every meal are either contributing to your strength or slowly taking it away. Equally important is rest. Many people wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor, as if being constantly busy is proof of their dedication. But sacrificing sleep is like trying to run a high-performance engine without oil. It might run for a while, but eventually it will seize up. Sleep is when the body repairs itself, consolidates memory, and resets emotional balance. Without it, you're more irritable, less focused, and more prone to burnout. Guard your sleep like you would guard your most valuable asset, because it is. Health is not only physical, it's also mental and emotional. Stress management plays a huge role in maintaining energy. Chronic stress drains the body, weakens the immune system, and disrupts sleep, creating a cycle that is hard to escape. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, or simply taking time to disconnect from constant stimulation can help restore balance. Mental health is inseparable from physical health. Neglecting one inevitably harms the other. When your health declines, it affects every area of your life. Relationships suffer because you don't have the patience or energy to be fully present. Your work suffers because you can't think clearly or sustain focus. Your ambitions suffer because even if the opportunities are there, you lack the physical drive to pursue them. On the other hand, when your health is strong, everything else becomes easier. You can take on more challenges, recover from setbacks faster, and sustain effort over the long term. Energy is a multiplier. It amplifies everything you do. If you have high energy, every hour of your work is worth more because you can focus better, move faster, and produce higher quality results. If you have low energy, even the simplest task can take twice as long and feel twice as hard. This is why health is not just about avoiding illness. It's about creating the physical and mental state that allows you to operate at your full potential every single day. It's also important to remember that taking care of your health is an act of discipline and self-respect. You can't outsource it to anyone else, and you can't buy it once it's gone. The habits you build today determine the strength and energy you will have in the years to come. Think of it as a long-term investment. The time you spend exercising, preparing healthy meals, and resting is not time taken away from your ambitions. It's time that makes your ambitions possible. Ultimately, health and energy are the silent forces behind every success story. They don't get as much attention as skills, strategies, or opportunities, but they are the foundation that makes all of those things work. Without them, achievement is fragile and short-lived. With them, you have the power to sustain your efforts, rise to challenges, and keep moving forward no matter what obstacles appear. If you want to build a life that lasts, start by building the strength and vitality to carry it. Strong relationships and emotional discipline are the core of a stable, fulfilling life because no matter how much personal success you achieve, it will feel empty if you have no one to share it with and no control over how you respond to life's challenges. Human beings are wired for connection. Our sense of meaning, safety, and belonging often comes from the relationships we nurture. At the same time, the quality of those relationships depends heavily on our ability to manage our emotions, communicate effectively, and remain grounded even when situations get difficult. Without emotional discipline, even strong connections can be damaged by impulsive reactions, misunderstandings, or unresolved conflicts. Strong relationships are built on trust, respect, and consistent effort. They require more than just being physically present, they demand emotional presence as well. This means listening with genuine interest, showing empathy, and making the other person feel valued. Too often, people take relationships for granted, assuming they will always be there. But like any meaningful part of life, relationships need regular care and attention. A friendship, partnership, or family bond will weaken over time if it is neglected, no matter how strong it once was. Emotional discipline plays a critical role in keeping those bonds healthy. It's about understanding that you cannot control every situation, but you can control how you respond. Anger, frustration, disappointment, these are all natural emotions, but when left unchecked, they can damage trust and create emotional distance. Emotional discipline does not mean suppressing feelings. It means processing them in a healthy way and choosing a response that strengthens rather than harms the relationship. This could mean pausing before reacting, taking time to understand another person's perspective, or finding a constructive way to express difficult truths. Relationships are also a mirror. They often reveal parts of ourselves that we might not see otherwise. Our patience, our insecurities, our ability to forgive. This is where emotional discipline becomes a powerful tool for personal growth. Every disagreement, every misunderstanding, every emotional trigger is an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and develop the ability to respond in a way that reflects our values instead of our impulses. Those who master this skill find that their relationships become more resilient, not because problems disappear, but because they are handled with respect and understanding. In a world where many people feel increasingly isolated despite being constantly connected online, the ability to form and maintain deep, meaningful relationships is more valuable than ever. Technology may make communication easier, but it cannot replace genuine human connection. A heartfelt conversation, shared experiences, and mutual support create bonds that digital interaction can never fully replicate. These are the relationships that sustain you during difficult times and amplify your joy during moments of success. However, strong relationships do not happen by accident. They require intentional action, checking in regularly with loved ones, making time to be together without distractions, and offering help without expecting anything in return. They also require boundaries. Healthy connections are built when both people respect each other's space, time, and individuality. Emotional discipline helps maintain these boundaries, ensuring that you don't overextend yourself or allow resentment to grow. Another key aspect of both relationships and emotional discipline is forgiveness. Holding on to anger or grudges slowly poisons the connection between people. Forgiveness is not about excusing harmful behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment and allowing the relationship a chance to heal. This process takes maturity and self-control, as it often means letting go of the need to be right in order to prioritize peace and mutual respect. Emotional discipline also strengthens your ability to communicate effectively. When emotions run high, it's easy to say things you don't mean or to shut down completely. But when you practice staying calm and expressing yourself clearly, you create space for honest dialogue without escalating conflict. In this way, emotional discipline doesn't just protect relationships, it actively improves them. It allows for deeper understanding, more productive problem solving, and a stronger sense of safety between people. Life will inevitably test both your relationships and your emotional control. Stress, external pressures, and personal struggles can strain even the strongest bonds. But when you are committed to nurturing your connections and practicing emotional discipline, you create a foundation that can withstand these challenges. You become the kind of person others can rely on, not because you are perfect, but because you are steady, thoughtful, and intentional in how you show up. In the end, strong relationships and emotional discipline are deeply intertwined. Relationships provide the connection and support that make life meaningful, while emotional discipline ensures that those relationships can endure and grow over time. Together, they create stability, resilience, and a deep sense of fulfillment that success alone cannot provide. Financial stability, service to others, and intentional living lead to lasting purpose and freedom because they create a balance between meeting your own needs, contributing to the well-being of others, and living each day with clarity and direction. Financial stability is not about becoming wealthy for the sake of wealth. It's about creating a secure foundation that allows you to live without constant stress about money. When your finances are under control, you have the freedom to make choices based on values rather than desperation. You can take opportunities that align with your long-term goals instead of chasing quick fixes just to survive. This stability doesn't happen by accident. It comes from consistently spending less than you earn, saving with discipline, and investing in things that grow over time rather than disappear with impulse spending. When you have financial stability, you also gain the ability to contribute more meaningfully to others. Service to others is not only about charity, it's about recognizing that your life is connected to a larger human story. The skills you've built, the resources you've earned, and the time you have can be used to make a difference in someone else's life. This can be as simple as mentoring a younger colleague, volunteering in your community, or supporting causes you believe in. The act of serving others shifts your focus from just personal gain to collective growth. It reminds you that your purpose is not only measured by what you achieve, but also by the positive impact you leave behind. Living with intention ties both financial stability and service together. It means you are not moving through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever comes your way. Instead, you are making conscious choices about how you spend your time, energy, and resources. An intentional life is guided by clear priorities, knowing what matters most and aligning your daily actions to reflect those values. Without intention, it's easy to drift into habits, commitments, and even relationships that don't support your long-term vision. But with intention, every step you take is deliberate, moving you closer to the life you truly want to live. The combination of financial stability, service, and intentional living creates a sense of freedom that many people never experience. Financial stability gives you the freedom to say no to things that drain you and yes to things that inspire you. Service gives you the freedom from self-centeredness, expanding your view beyond your own needs and reminding you of the shared human experience. Intentional living gives you the freedom to design a life that feels meaningful rather than one that simply happens to you. This kind of freedom is not just about having more options. It's about having the right options, the ones that fit your values and vision. Financial discipline is a crucial part of this process because money problems can easily overshadow all other areas of life. Debt overspending and poor financial planning create constant stress that affects your health, relationships, and decision-making. On the other hand, when your financial life is in order, you can approach each day without the weight of anxiety about bills, emergencies, or the future. You can take calculated risks, invest in personal growth, and even take breaks when you need to without fear of everything collapsing. The stability doesn't come from luck, it comes from consistently making small, wise choices over time. Service adds depth to your sense of purpose because it shifts the focus from what can I get to what can I give. When you help others, whether through your time, skills, or resources, you create a ripple effect that often comes back to you in unexpected ways. The relationships you build through service are often some of the most genuine and lasting. You also develop empathy, patience, and a stronger sense of gratitude. Service changes how you see your own challenges, often giving you perspective on how fortunate you are in ways you might have overlooked. Intentional living requires regular reflection and self-awareness. It's not enough to set goals once a year and forget them. You must continually check whether your actions are aligned with what truly matters to you. This may mean saying no to opportunities that look good on the surface but don't match your deeper values. It may mean restructuring your daily routine so you have more time for what matters most. It may even mean making difficult changes like leaving a job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new environment in order to live in alignment with your purpose. When these three elements, financial stability, service, and intentional living, work together, they create a life that feels both secure and meaningful. You are no longer living in constant reaction to external pressures. Instead, you are building a life on a foundation you've chosen. You can provide for yourself and your loved ones without fear, contribute to something bigger than yourself, and wake up each day knowing your time and energy are being spent on things that matter. This balance leads to a deep sense of fulfillment that no single achievement can provide because it's built on principles that endure through every season of life. The truth is, a meaningful and successful life isn't built by chance, it's built by the choices you make every single day. The 8 goals we've explored are not just a checklist for this year, they are a framework for living with purpose, discipline, and fulfillment. When you master your mornings, commit to lifelong learning, prioritize your health, strengthen your relationships, practice emotional discipline, build financial stability, serve others, and live intentionally, you create a life that is both resilient and deeply rewarding. These goals work together like pieces of a puzzle. Each one strengthens the others, and together they form a complete picture of the life you truly want to live. The difference between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow is not luck or talent. It's the willingness to act on these principles every single day. If you commit to them fully, this won't just be another year. It will be the year that changes everything.